It is day two of deliberations in the United States versus Sean Combs. And this morning, the judge discussed the positions of the defense and the government on a 4:30 p.m. jury note that came in yesterday regarding a question they had about drug distribution. And that is the last predicate act. Or I guess if you're going in order and you're looking at the verdict slip, drug distribution is the last predicate act under the RICO charges. So it seemed like they were going in order there. And the question they had was something along the lines of, if somebody asks for drugs from someone else, are both of them guilty of drug distribution? And the the defense basically wanted the judge to have the jury consider the charge as a whole, where the government was like, no, you need to point them to this section of the jury charges because, they're asking a specific question and this is the specific answer. And the judge agreed there with the government, just so it wouldn't be misleading to the jury. So that was discussed, and I think we were pretty much finished by 9:15 or so, 9:20. And then another note came in from the jury at 10:15, and they were asking to review the elements of testimony from Cassie Ventura as it pertained to the Intercontinental Hotel, the event at the Cannes Film Festival, and Cassie's interactions with Daniel Phillip, the entertainer escort, and then Cassie and Daniel Phillip, this incident at the Essex Hotel. So they were trying to figure out, the government and the defense and the court, they were trying to figure out which portions of the testimony would be appropriate to send to the jury and are based on these questions. And they were able to agree on, it looked like, the interactions with Daniel Phillip and also the Essex Hotel incident. They couldn't initially agree on two lines the government wanted, but actually the judge ruled that those lines would be admissible after all, so those two were checked. The biggest thing here was the Intercontinental Hotel. So I thought the judge was very fair on this because the defense wanted to make sure that the Instagram post that Cassie made was let in, which is where she said domestic violence is the issue. And he decided to let that in. They had initially wanted the settlement with the Intercontinental to be admitted as well, or given to the jury, but they withdrew that after, I think they realized they were kind of pushing it a little bit. But also the government wanted certain elements added when it came to about 3 days before and 3 days after, and I think that they had agreed in the end that testimony from March 3rd would be admitted through March 6th or 7th, which is after the Intercontinental Hotel, just some text messages back and forth, talking about the incident. And yeah, I think both sides seem to be happy about that. And at one point, the judge is like, well, why don't we just give the jury the entire testimony of Cassie Ventura, because, that would be fair to both sides, and, we can just be done with this issue, because it was a pretty extensive argument. I would say it took probably 30 minutes or so. And the defense was like, no, we don't want them to have the entire testimony because it's 800 pages. That's not what they asked for. And that's when they agreed that it would, they would withdraw the intercontinental, or the settlement. And then they could admit 2 lines before, or 2 days before and 2 days after. So everybody seemed happy. And they were told to get this transcript or these elements of the transcript to the jury by 1 p.m. Also, Cassie is count 2. So they're really making their way through this. So I'm thinking there could be a verdict by tomorrow at this point, if they're working their way through and they're asking good questions here. I could see a verdict tomorrow afternoon, or end of day tomorrow. So let's see.